Hamakom hazeh Manora 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 Hamakom hazeh Yambadai Yadadam Madam Yambaya Yadadai Dai Dai Manora Hamakom hazeh Manora Hamakom hazeh. Boker Tov, good morning. Another sunny day where we walked out in t-shirts and weren't cold, weren't winded down, weren't anything, weren't wet by raindrops that seem to never stop. And so it's a beautiful start to today. And while today is not the official marking of what tomorrow is, which is the shutdown of what felt like the shutdown of the world for COVID-19 4 years ago. In fact, we began our online connection, our daily online connection, the day before the world shut down. And the reason for that was we were already, we've been using technology for years and years and years prior to. So when the pandemic hit, it was not something that was, how will we ever do this kind of feeling, or how can we make it right? It was, okay, this is what we're going to do. And so grateful for that, but even more grateful to say that for 4 years, we've been doing this. And the reason we shut down one day prior to the world shutting down, or we didn't shut down, we just went virtual, was because our educator was teaching for and in close proximity to the first rabbi of the day school on Long Island who contracted COVID-19. And so when we talked to our infectious disease doctor friend and colleague slash community member, she said, we don't know enough about this. If you can go virtual, being that she was exposed, let's take that route. And we did. And so here we are. And we've been here every day, 6 days a week, sometimes twice a day. And when I counted up how many times we have been in an online connection with all of you, it's over 1,800 live connections since, for us, which was March 13th, 2020. So here we are on March 13th, 2024, and we have had more than 1,800 broadcasts, which is pretty amazing, considering some days during certain months, during certain times of the year, we are on here twice a day, be that the Omer, be that Elul, on Fridays, etc. So we have truly been over 1,800 times on a live connection since the start of the pandemic. For those of us rabbis who have changed the trajectory of what we thought we would be doing in the last 4 years, um, to how many funerals that would be happening, and just the things that pandemic brought. But one thing it certainly brought is, the strength in community. And emunah, as we started talking about yesterday, is, the faith in having faith. And so in order to have faith, you need to have faith in your leaders, but also leaders in your community. And so we have been blessed to have both of those simultaneous. And it's pretty amazing that we have created such a community of online followers that have given us this opportunity to continue to connect and to learn together and to be in community. And we are grateful for all of that. So we were speaking yesterday about Pikudei, this week's Torah portion, where God shows God's presence in a cloud over the Mishkan, tabernacle, tent of meeting, sanctuary um, space, which was the portable, what they were using as they were traveling in the desert. And the presence of God being in the form of a cloud. And sometimes, you need cloudy situations in order for you to be able to see that which is clear. It's kind of like, you can't see light unless you've experienced darkness. And so while I wouldn't say that, I would say that God is dark when God's presence is near. But when we think about how it appeared for our ancestors, it was in the form of a cloud. And so when our vision is cloudy, sometimes we need assistance. And so the cloud shows up to blur our vision and then enable us to see more clearly. So Alan Morinitz quotes the late Lubavitcher Rebbe, who wrote that there was a student who was struggling. And the Rebbe said, "It is only due to the inner conviction in our hearts, shared by every human, that there is a judge, that there is right and there is wrong. And so, when we see wrong, we demand the explanation. Why is this not the way it should be? That itself is belief in God." So when we realize that we have the ability to question, then we are in relationship with God, is what the Rebbe is saying. So just as God makes space for continued creation, like leaving the spaces between the letters and the words of Torah, or what our tradition teaches, the um, the act of contraction, the act of simsum, contraction, is humility. Is to say, God grants the Jews permission to build this tabernacle, this place. And God's faith is giving, yes, the guide, the rule book, the whatever, this is what we need to be, but leaving space, being humble enough to say, I'm giving you this direction. I'm manifesting enough emunah, enough faith to say, you can build my house. Our ancestors, emunah, their faith was strengthened by being able to be given direction, but free will, as to say, we can build that house. A physical space that reminds us that God would reside in our midst. The narrative of the Mishkan teaches us that our faith is built not by means of spiritual encounters, but rather in the work of our own hands. So we could say that emunah, faith, is built through acts of faith, right? We can't know what faith is about until we become faithful, that we, on a wing and a prayer, kind of. And our faith grows when we work and make space for God's presence in our lives, for the divine connection. Now, whether it is, spirit, universe, God, community, whatever it is that brings us to that place of connection with the divine is different for all of us. And it's in emunah, it's in faith and believing that in certain moments we question, and in certain moments we feel God's presence right there with us in this moment. And so some of us meditate, some of us pray, some of us perform acts of mitzvot, of good deeds, of following commandments, and chesed, with loving kindness, that we show loving kindness in the world. But each of us constructs a space where we can nurture faith in our own way. So, having faith is tough sometimes, right? Sometimes we come on here and there's, one person watching, and other times we come on here and there's 30 people watching. I was thinking the other day during pandemic, it was like, the numbers would just be the numbers because nobody was living life. Living life was staying inside and making sure that you were staying safe, that you were staying healthy. And then our lives went back to normal, and then something bad happens in the world, and all of the sudden the numbers of live viewers and post live viewers goes up. And then there's those days where there's one person here. But I've often said, if we're reaching one person, we're reaching more than no people. We're reaching somewhere. And it is proven that in having faith in what we're doing has brought us to a place where we can grow and we can strengthen our own connection to tradition. And from one house to another, the connection is our community. So as we close today with faith in our own community and faith in our divine connection, let's think about our own faith that says, is it possible to experience emunah, faith, in the mundane, in nature, in times where we're not in a prayer circle or service? Are there times when we can use our own artisanal abilities, in whatever those are, to have room to continue to create that which is the mishkan of our own existence, the tent of meeting, the greater whole, as it were, the God between us? And so if you close your eyes for a moment and imagine the face of someone that you love, feel that person's presence, loving presence around you. And just sit in that feeling for a moment to see that face in that space of love. That is the feeling of emunah. That is the feeling of faith. You have faith that when you close your eyes, you can see that which is not physically there. That which is the connection. You allow yourself to have faith to see what cannot physically be seen. So as you go through your day, strive to be more present in those moments. Being present in your conversations with others, instead of simultaneously scrolling through your phone, looking at something else, folding the laundry, but to be present. If you're on the phone, you're not doodling and doing and whatever, walking around the kitchen, to be present in the conversation. Sit down and listen. Give something of yourself in each encounter, even if it's just a smile. We are one human family, one heart of abundant love. We love you. We hope to continue our beautiful connection far beyond this 4-year anniversary marker. What a blessing it is to be with those of you that watch live and those of you that watch at other times. For we are this community that is built on love, one human family, one heart that holds as much love as it can as we go out into this world. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai.